Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a lovely one out there on this beautiful morning that it is. Today we're going to be listening to Alexandre, Lagoya, and Claude Bolling. We're going to listen to this track off of their album Concerto for Classical Guitar and Jazz Piano Trio. The first track on that album, Hispanic Dance, with a blue touch, just a touch of blue, a tinge, some would say. We're listening to this because it was recommended and sponsored by Jaybird. So Jaybird, really appreciate that. Thank you so much for the suggestion and the support as well. Now, I've never heard of these two, so just very quickly, I looked up both of them separately on Wikipedia. And Mr. Lagoya is a French classical guitarist and composer. And then Claude Bolling is a French jazz pianist. Obviously, we're getting the piano and guitar in here. Now, I'm really curious to hear this because it's a mix of classical and jazz. And I mean, that's a great combination. And a combination I hadn't necessarily ever thought about too much before I had discovered some jazz classical mixtures when I was first kind of developing my jazz playlist, which if you're interested, you can go and find that video somewhere. If you type in playlist, you'll find it. And it was really interesting to hear some of like the combinations between the two, which, you know, beforehand, like I said, I never quite thought about. So let's go ahead and dive into this track. I expect a blue touch. I expect a Hispanic touch as well, and a touch of all the above. Let's go ahead and dive into it. We'll talk about it a little bit after. Here we go. Cascaded there. That is just so fun and flaunty. Like the play and the rhythm there. It's just a straight shift. They are really playing between the two now. A touch of blue. There you go. Just a touch. Rhythm and jazz on top of that. That's really nice. It really does feel like a gentle conversation between friends. love when he starts playing the guitar though. It just has this lovely touch to it. Steps into this. And the drumming is so subtle, it's barely there. Just an undercarriage here. Playing with the chords. That was a cool listen. That was such a cool listen. And the whole thing really felt like kind of with the album cover, you saw, of course, the guitar and the piano like in the room with the bass and everything with the other instruments. And it was just like in the living room of a house. The music specifically between, of course, the two really featured musicians here felt like a conversation. It felt like they were, hear me out, it felt like they were in the living room, just two friends sitting down, enjoying their afternoon together. They're having a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, maybe some biscuits here or whatever, and they're just having a conversation together. Of course, the conversation is lively and active. They're getting to know each other, especially as the guitar. And I love that rhythm that's set up. It's playful, it's jaunty, it's jolly, it gets jumping, it has an action to it. And so, like I said, with the beginning of this conversation, there's liveliness. Hey, how you doing? How's everything been going? How's the family? How's the kid? It's that catching up. And I really like how the energy is captured in the very beginning with that. And then it starts to move into a slightly different position. The rhythm changes into something with heavier chords on the back end of the piano. You hear it bouncing back and forth between that and then going back up. And it was almost giving a bit of drama. Boom, 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 boom. And a little bit of that playfulness is lost for a moment. And perhaps they've moved into a more serious topic, whatever that may be, before quickly getting back into, some more fun, flaunty kind of situations and conversation. And then the music goes into briefly in and out, like a fish in and out of water. It hits that touch of blue. And you literally move into a completely different tonal shift as it plays into the blues. But just for a measure, and then it flips right back. And I just like how this really does feel like a musical conversation between the two, because at many, many, many different times between the guitar and the piano, they mimic each other's lines. They, mirror each other's melodies, but then one will kind of take over the conversation while the other kind of, yeah, right, answers a little bit, but the one is driving the conversation, and then it moves back to the other way. And now this side is driving the conversation while maybe the guitar is, yeah, I agree, I disagree, right? I think that this really does capture a really nice musical conversation in this really fun and playful rhythm, a lot of great melodies. And then the ending, the outro, at first it gets into an intense kind of summation there with the chords striking almost in a flamenco aspect. And then it gives us a nice bit of subtle reprieve there at the very end. Just a beautiful way of calmly ending everything. I thought that was a really fun track to listen to. I like the different directions that it goes into, and it plays around a lot. It definitely shifts quickly between places, but I think it's filled with so much joy that's being had that I think it comes across incredibly well. I'm just curious. I'm just doing a little quick search on YouTube just to see if there's any live footage, perhaps, of this, or of perhaps something close. I do not see any at all, actually. I found the track on Craigslist. I'm not Craigslist. Why am I on YouTube? But I do not see any live footage of them playing. So I would assume that this is primarily a, obviously it's a studio. There's a C word I'm trying to think of. A studio collaboration. But I was curious to see if they had maybe toured or anything like that. But I do not see anything. Really quickly, just want to... like I said, I found the YouTube page. I'm just looking to see if there are any interesting comments about it. Haven't heard this melody in over 40 years. I could listen to this song at least once a day the rest of my life. Lagoya plays brilliantly. That's the true. Was used as the theme to NPR's The Best of Our Knowledge. Haven't heard of that particular show. I do listen to NPR quite a bit, though. Michael searching. I mean, this is just really, really good. Please, the rest of it hard to find. I need score, please. This would probably be very hard to play. Now, Jay, you've played classical guitar, if I remember correctly. This sounds difficult. It sounds more difficult in the speed of the playing, and this is from someone who's not a guitarist whatsoever. So what do I know? I'm asking. This sounds difficult from the sense of like the speed and the rhythm of the playing, not necessarily the melody. Like, some of the other live guitar videos that we've watched, like, those seem like hard in every respect. This one almost seems like, this is going to sound so bad coming from someone who knows nothing of guitars. This almost sounds like a great hard and technical warm-up, especially the main melody, the like I can hear that being like, okay, like you have the class, right? Everyone in the class warm up playing this. I could definitely see that before you dive into like some real stuff. I don't know. Like I said, I don't mean to take away whatsoever from the technical ability of the musicians, because I don't think I could if I tried. Obviously, they're amazing, but just how I'm kind of hearing it, especially when compared to some of the other classical, especially like flamenco music that we've touched on. Anyways, that was really cool. Thank you so much, Dave, for the exposure and, of course, for the support. Let me know what you guys thought of it in the comments down below. Follow me in quite a few places. Thank you for being here. Come back tomorrow, and I'll see you later. It is a very catchy and playful rhythm. And I kind of have a lot of fun saying that. Let's do it. I was trying to do it with the music. That's not working. All right.